Let's talk about our body and the illusion of we think we're just this little tiny human being. But from what I'm reading, I'm listening to Joe Dispenza and I'm reading books, and they're saying that our DNA, each strand of DNA, they're saying is 2 meters long, which is 6 feet long. So they're
Mhm.
saying that our DNA stretched out could wrap around the earth at least 2, 3 times. That's some hell of a shit to imagine. When we look at ourselves and we think what's inside of my body could wrap around the earth 2 times, that seems like it's a stretch of the imagination. It can't possibly be true. Talk to me about this idea of because just like if you're black and your hair spirals and it's coils and you stretch your hair, that shit could go from being real tiny to it could go real high, and you'd be like, God
Yeah,
damn,
I
I
got
ain't
that going on right now. This
yeah.
thing go way up there, but I got
Yeah,
them pressed down.
yeah. So that's the fractal of the universe. Yeah, that's the fractal that they talked about. But
Yeah.
is our DNA. Then, and that's why they say when they say as above, so below, they're saying it's literally, it's not just figuratively. Literally, our DNA is encompasses the whole universe because it stretches around the earth 2 times. Talk to me about our DNA and what we may or may not know about our DNA and junk DNA, Seven.
Okay, so just to clarify, the DNA just directly is the memory. It's actually the component that is used to store the experiences. Okay, so when we even say junk DNA, what we're saying is experiences that we are currently locked out of. But if we unlock those experiences, like if we go down those corridors and we drive energy down those corridors to activate those telomeres to connect, especially when there's no division, when there's no monster, you know what I mean? Once you make that connection, you begin to travel down what has been recording, just like the DNA right now. It's just continuously recording. When you see it, it just continuously eats, and basically it doesn't care what experiences you're having. It can benefit from all the experiences because it's laying all of that out as the tube, if you may, that everything is traveling through. So it's actually bigger than the external aspect of trying to measure it with man's tools. This is actually something that is it's beyond nano size. If you even understand the size of the DNA, that is the coding system that is keeping all the memories. The most important thing to understand about it is how do you access different parts of it, or how are you able to travel through it? Because just like a record, if you notice that, if you look at a record, you'll notice that there's certain lines that actually are thicker. And when you go to that part in the record, it's because there's more playing at that point, right? This is also what John Quick or Jim Quick talks about the memory, that when you have these very emotional moments, those you remember. That's why they try to teach you how to attach things you need to remember to something emotional. That's why also in marketing, they teach to tug on the person's emotions if you want them to remember the brand. So because of this, you have a life that is full of like something that is going, let's say, like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, when you have what you would say is a traumatic event, you have a spike. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you're looking at the DNA and then and you're able to read where these spikes actually are. So when you're going into the dream, or more importantly, when you're going through what they would call the death process, you see this code in front of you, but only the spikes. It's like you don't pay attention to the small stuff. You pay attention to the big points where something happens. And this is what gives us the ability to quote unquote time travel, because we will then reinsert ourselves because we have strong intentions. And the memory string belongs to us, so we can actually go back into it. So we'll go where we'll go back where we had these strong points, and we'll try to actually change things to get a different result. Now, if I'm sitting on this side, this feels like deja vu. There becomes this moment where I feel like something is going on that I need to maybe be aware of what's happening, maybe go left instead of right. That's really what's happening. It's a moment that has already occurred within your, well, okay, this is where I want to clarify. When I say yours, I'm really talking about, it could be your mom, your mother's mother, her mother's mother, and the rest of the lineage of the DNA, when it happened for them, this is technically your first time here. And some will just, have a hissy fit about this, but it makes obvious sense. Any recollection of you being here before is yeah and no. It's a recollection of someone or something that has your DNA string, your code, your resonance code that actually went through experiences. And because through that process of going through the portal, now here it is that you have it now, you're able to even recollect, feel, tap in to those memories. But as far as you specifically being here, that's not what's happened. This is your first time, because each of these realms are very unique. And so in this experience, armed with all the DNA of your ancestors, which I gave thanks to when we started the conversation, and their experiences, you're supposed to make the best probable and quantum decisions about how you're going to consistently exist eternally without falling back to sleep, without going below the speed of light, or actually getting into where you have negative entropy. This means that, like what they say, the planet, that you start slowing down, so you start wobbling. And evidence of this slowdown is you primarily using one hand rather than both hands. You coming out as a male or a female rather than an androgynous. You being so confused about everything and what its true existence is that you actually think that it's different. That's what happens when the vibratory field is slowed down or has been slowed down. But of course, things start off just like bass in the low vibratory field. Earth is on a 7.83 hertz. That's like bass. That's not the high pitched frequency sounds that you like to listen to on your chakra alignment radio stations or whatever. Why? Because if a seed was trying to grow in that frequency on the earth, it would be so agitated, the ground would be shaking all the time. There wouldn't be a space for the beings that need that level of density to plant themselves in to even grow. So every time you're starting to look at the fertilizer, whatever it is that you got as your antithesis or nemesis for today, which is the fertilizer, you need to understand that those are the things that are producing the eclectic results and the mineralization of your existence and growth. More importantly, it's making you aware of your gifts, because you had all of your gifts. Just like a child, your parents gave you all of your gifts, but you don't know what they do. You don't know where they came from. You were born into a house of ultimate wealth, but you didn't know what it was to be poor. So this doesn't have a use for you. So instead of letting you continue to roll out in this ignorance with your parents taking care of everything for you, they put you into a module because of their love for you to actually unlock these powers and really use them to overcome this fake ass Illuminati, this fake ass intelligentsia. They keep naming themselves. They steal signet rings. So they're going to name themselves at the end of the day, every single name of your ancestors before they're done with you. You see what I mean? And completely usurp you from all your tools of power and say that they're theirs, like the Masonic square and the compass, to measure the earth, to measure the sky. So if that all of a sudden becomes theirs, that metaphorically is saying that to measure the earth and to measure the sky is the knowledge that they only hold.